Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and this is the first of two videos that I will be uploading today. In this video today, we're going to be talking about some of the players that you guys need to keep an eye on versus the New Orleans Saints in Week 1. So, without further ado, let's get started by talking about the first player. It's a pretty obvious one. Quarterback Tom Brady. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but after today and tomorrow, we will have Tampa Bay Buccaneers football, which is always exciting because it's always a long wait. We always get excited, always for Tampa Bay Buccaneers football. But this is more exciting because Tom Brady is the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First things first, I don't think anybody ever guessed that Tom Brady would be on another team besides the New England Patriots. Second thing, I don't think anybody in the world would have guessed that Tom freaking Brady would join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there's a lot going into this game. We get to see Tom Brady play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform, throwing to Tampa Bay Buccaneers players. It's just insanity. Now, in terms of Tom Brady and the mystique surrounding him, putting that aside, because that's just going to always be there, and kind of talking about what he's coming into, he's playing the New Orleans Saints Week 1. That's not an easy matchup. That's playoff football. That is two of the best quarterbacks of all time. Tom Brady being the best, Drew Brees definitely being up there in the top 5, going toe-to-toe in Week 1 of the NFL season. You gotta love that. That's going to be absolutely awesome. But in terms of the overall preparedness of each quarterback, you could possibly give Drew Brees the advantage here, considering this is the first time Tom Brady is ever coming to a new team with a whole new coaching staff, a whole new playbook. He has a lot to get ready for. But if there was anybody in the entire world that I could trust to not necessarily have growing pains, it would be the greatest quarterback of all time in the history of the NFL, being Tom Brady. So yeah, we're definitely going to need to pay attention to Tom Brady, who he's comfortable throwing the ball to, how comfortable he is with the playbook, how much control he's going to have over the nuances of the offense, how much he's going to be changing stuff at the line of scrimmage, things along those lines. It's going to be very fun and very interesting to just see Tom Brady on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers interacting with the offense, seeing who he's comfortable throwing to, because that can dictate the rest of the season. Once Tom Brady gets comfortable throwing to a couple of guys, he really doesn't change it around that much. He does spread out the ball a whole ton, don't get me wrong, but once he's got his main targets, those are pretty much his guys. So it is going to be really, really interesting to see how Tom Brady does in this first game. He has got one heck of a matchup versus Drew Brees and the Saints. But again, like I said, if there was anybody in the world that I would trust, it's Tom Brady. So let's see what he can do. It's going to be something we've never seen before, nothing I think any of us ever thought we would see before, and that's going to be special. The next player I want to talk about here is pretty much right up there in terms of the mystique. It's Rob Gronkowski. Definitely you could assume would be more likely to join the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than Tom Brady, just because, I don't know, it's not very much, lower in terms of the believable rating, but Rob Gronkowski is also a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now, and that's pretty darn special as well. So how is Gronk gonna do? Now, in terms of growing pains and things like that, that's not my concern with Rob Gronkowski. My concern, not just for this week for Rob Gronkowski, but for the entire season, is going to be how healthy can Gronk stay? Because Gronk has had a laundry list of health problems throughout his career. He has had many different types of back injuries, leg injuries. One of the most famous things that I saw was after the Super Bowl that they had, I believe, won. It was either they won the Super Bowl or lost the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure it was the last one that they won. He was basically crying because his leg was so messed up and hurt that he was in such a large amount of pain that whenever the Super Bowl was done, he couldn't even really celebrate to the best of his abilities because he was in so much pain. So Gronk has had a lot of medical issues, and that's definitely something that's going to be a concern for the entire season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, making sure how healthy Gronk is, if his health's keeping up, things like that. The Buccaneers do have some very solid tight ends to replace him, but you can't overall replace a guy like Rob Gronkowski when he is on his A game. He is the number 1 or number 2 tight end in NFL history, depending on who you ask. So yeah, to say that we need to keep Gronk healthy at all costs, I think is a little bit of an understatement. Let's see how his health goes in this upcoming game. Hopefully he doesn't get hit or dinged up too much. I'm going to be very curious to see how much they play Rob Gronkowski in this upcoming game, because they have a lot of guys that they can rotate in there. You've got O.J. Howard, you've got Cameron Brate, you've got Anthony Auclair. That can take a lot of that pressure off of Rob Gronkowski. He could end up just being a phenomenal red zone weapon to kind of ease him into it, overall NFL action in this upcoming game versus the Saints. The next player I want to talk about is running back Ronald Jones. Now, this is going to be very interesting because we have had a lot of hype surrounding Ronald Jones in this offseason, from the front office, from the coaching staff, from the fan base, myself included. I'm a big Ronald Jones guy. There's a lot of hype surrounding him, and the thought process coming into this game, basically until a week and a half ago, was he's going to be the bell cow back, he's going to be the number one starter. LeSean McCoy's here, LeSean McCoy can help out in the receiving game, sure, but Ronald Jones is still going to be getting a lot of opportunities. Then Leonard Fournette came along, and now Leonard Fournette, LeSean McCoy, and Ronald Jones are all seemingly going to be having a role in this Week 1 matchup, according to Bruce Arians. So I'm most interested in Ronald Jones because what's his role going to be? We can assume LeSean McCoy's role, receiving back. We can assume Leonard Fournette's role, probably a power back. But what is Ronald Jones going to do? Now, Bruce Arians had said that Ronald Jones is still the starting running back. It's his job until he pretty much loses it, and I don't think he's going to lose it. That's what Bruce Arians said. Now, I'm very curious to see how Ronald Jones is going to do, because he's got a couple of guys breathing down his neck. You've got Leonard Fournette, former number 4 overall pick in an NFL draft a couple of seasons ago. You've got LeSean McCoy, a very efficient runner and a very strong veteran presence who could be a starter if you absolutely needed him to be. His big thing is just he needs to stay fresh, he needs to stay healthy. And then you have third round draft pick Keyshawn Vaughn, who I don't expect to be doing a ton in this upcoming game, but still, he's a third round draft pick. So I think Ronald Jones needs to come into this game and he needs to put his stamp saying, hey, this is my running back room still. I'm still this starting running back. See what I can do, okay? You guys are all hyped up about Leonard Fournette. You guys are all hyped up about LeSean McCoy. Watch what I can do. And then he just goes out and has a phenomenal game. That's what you would think Ronald Jones is definitely thinking about doing in this upcoming game versus the Saints. So, depending how Ronald Jones does in this game could set the tone for this running back room for the future of this season. If he falters and they tend to use Leonard Fournette and LeSean McCoy a little bit more in this game, that could be the pattern moving forward. If he comes out there and just absolutely smashes it and does an amazing job Week 1, we could continue to see a lot of Ronald Jones moving forward. It just all depends on how he starts off and how he begins to do. So definitely pay attention to him and just the running back room as a whole. The fourth player I want to talk about is Ryan Succop. This man needs to make his kicks, plain and simple. That's all I'm going to say. They cut Matt Gay. They got rid of Cairo Santos last year. Elliott Fry's gone. That one's not really surprising. But Ryan Succop's the new kicker. They have Greg Joseph on the practice squad just in case Ryan Succop doesn't make his kicks. But we are hoping that this man is automatic from 45 yards and under. He needs to be. He needs to be automatic from 45 yards or under, because we are just sick and tired of having kickers not make their kicks. It is absolutely infuriating. So, Ryan Succop, from me to you, you'll never watch this video, but please, bro, just make your kicks. The next player we want to talk about, I actually cheated. It's two players, Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett. The big story with these two guys is, number one, they get to start off a season together fully healthy. That's huge. I know Jason Pierre-Paul came back, I believe, after week 11 of last year, or maybe he came back on week 11, and him and Shaq Barrett played for around 6 to 7 games together, maybe even longer. My memory's not that good with that, but Shaq Barrett or Jason Pierre-Paul still could have had some lingering injuries. They've now had a full offseason to kind of gel and get chemistry together, which is a very big deal for opposite pass rushers, by the way. They need that chemistry to work together. They need to know which one is going to do certain things on certain plays, because it helps move the pocket to the other one's benefit. So So let's just say Shaq Barrett says, hey, Jason Pierre-Paul, if you push Drew Brees a little bit this way, I'm more likely to get a sack on him and bring even more pressure on him. That happens. Same thing for Shaq Barrett, creating opportunities for Jason Pierre-Paul and creating opportunities for Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea. All that communication happens on that defensive line and in that linebacker room. So the chemistry between Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett is going to be huge this year for both of their overall successes. And I think it is entirely possible for both those guys to get double-digit sacks this upcoming season. And this is where it starts. You have an incredible test in Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk. Their chemistry needs to be good, that being Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett, and they need to put pressure on Drew Brees very, very quickly because that man gets the ball out of his hands very fast. So JPP, Shaq Barrett, I'm excited to see both these guys come together finally for a full season and get some things going. They both have double-digit sacks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at one point. Jason Pierre-Paul in 2018, Shaq Barrett in 2019. Shaq Barrett now has the sack record, and it's going to be interesting to see how he continues from that previous year. He has the franchise record in sacks, and now he's going to be starting on the warpath once again for Shaq Barrett, and he's got a great running mate in Jason Pierre-Paul with him. So that's going to be fun to see. The next player we are going to be talking about is Antoine Winfield Jr., the current Tampa Bay Buccaneers second-round pick, who is now the starting safety for this team. And apparently, the reports coming out of training camp, before this game, is that Antoine Winfield Jr. got better every single day, and the guy's an absolute ball hawk. He knows where to be to get the most out of his opportunities as a playmaker, and he's just been phenomenal so far. Todd Bowles loves him, Bruce Arians loves him, everybody loves him right now. So, yeah, this is going to be pretty fun to see how he does. Like I've been saying with everybody else, he's got a very strong test with guys like Alvin Kamara, Jared Cook, Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. He's going to need to help in a lot of those situations, and I think he's going to be awesome. I'm a huge Antoine Winfield Jr. fan. Somewhere down the line, I will be getting an Antoine Winfield Jr. jersey. His legacy that he has from his father is definitely going to be a strong legacy to keep up with, but so far it sounds like that he is matching up to his father's type of play. His father was a phenomenal defensive back, Hall of Famer, everything, just everything. He was great, and Antoine Winfield Jr. seems like the apple hasn't fallen too far from the tree in terms of a defensive back play. So I'm very excited to see Antoine Winfield Jr. start off his career here in Tampa Bay versus the Saints. Finally, the last player that we're going to be talking about, and possibly arguably the most important, is going to be right tackle Tristan Wirfs, the 13th overall pick in this most recent NFL draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They traded up one spot to get him, and Tristan Wirfs now has the responsibility of helping protect Tom Brady. Not an easy task to do, and the reason I selected Tristan Wirfs and not Donovan Smith is because, one, we all know to watch out for Donovan Smith. It's just, a thing at this point, but Tristan Wirfs specifically because that man is going up against Cameron Jordan, one of the better pass rushers in the entire NFL, had 15.5 sacks last year, is no joke. He's a professional troll on social media. He has been making fun of Donovan Smith for years, and I don't want that to happen anymore. I want Tristan Wirfs to just show Cameron Jordan what's up, put him down and say, what's up now, Cameron Jordan? Start making comments on Twitter. I dare you. That's what I want to see happen, okay? I want to see Tristan Wirfs put Cameron Jordan in his place because this is a huge, huge, huge responsibility. Cameron Jordan's one of those guys who could wreck a game for you if you really just let him run wild. I could even see situations where Alex Kappa is going to have to help out Tristan Wirfs in this game if he can't hold up himself. It's a lot of responsibility right away for this young rookie when he hasn't had a lot of time to prepare. Same thing can be said for Antoine Winfield Jr. These guys didn't have mini camps, they didn't have OTAs, they just had training camp to get ready and get set and play in the NFL, which is not a lot of time to prepare, and Tristan Wirfs is definitely going to have a trial by fire with Cameron Jordan breathing down his neck throughout this entire game. So, going to be very interesting to see. I think the rookie will hold up. Tom Brady's going to make his job a whole heck of a lot easier by getting the ball quicker out of his hands, and this should be a lot of fun to see. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know about all the players that I mentioned down in the comments section below. What do you like about some of the players I mentioned? What are your expectations for them? And what players are you guys looking out for that I might not have mentioned in this video? Like I said, Donovan Smith, Devin White, Levante David, the entire secondary besides Antoine Winfield Jr. There's a lot of guys that you can throw out there. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. But until the next video or the next live stream, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.